What's up, everybody? Mahan13 here, and you already see the video. Let's get on to it. Episode 3 Secrets. And sorry if you hear music in the background. One of my neighbors died, and their family's moving everything out and playing music, so. Let's get into this. Sorry, also, I started up work again and doing that along with normal school and college, so. At most, what if will be Monday, Friday, Saturday, and Sundays is what I'm going to try to do. And if I have any extra time on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday after I get off of work, which isn't usually until around 7, but let's get back. So we ended this episode off, last episode off with Dasuki, which also I'm using the English names as middle names, so Dasuki, Davis, Miyamoto, Hikari, Taiichi, Tai, Yamato, Matt, you get it. Kizumi, I cannot say Izzy's Japanese name for the damn life of me. Fuck. But fuck it, let's just get on to the video. So, we start this story off where we ended out the last episode off with Davis telling Kari and Tai that he had something to tell them. Also, I'm gonna make more timelines of this and everything. Basically, when I do my what if Tai and Davis went to the digital world, it'd be Tai, Venture, basically, events, what happened early. So Davis still goes to the digital world first. They're the first humans to make contact. Then the Adventure manga takes place. Then Adventure in that timeline. And then O2, then Try, and so on and so forth. But this timeline starts with everything in the original series being the same, except Davis went to the digital world first, which I'll do a Thai version of this, except I'm actually having O2 in it, because that was fucking stupid not to have him in. But let's get back to this. So, also I will start making a what if of Digimon, I guess Zero? Yeah, Digimon Zero. Which we'll see exactly how Davis's trip in the digital world went. But yeah, so basically, we see everything that happens is Dasuki tells him about his adventures in the digital world. From him first getting pulled in through his computer screen at 6, to meeting Gehenna, to meeting Vmon, Millenniumon. Which, if you want to imagine the voice from Millenniumon, you know the Lich from Adventure Time, which I will be doing what if of. Yeah, imagine his voice actor. Oh, that'd be fucking awesome. Have Millenniumon being voiced by the Lich. Terrifying. But yeah, for a lot of the more terrifying villains, just imagine the Lich's voice. He actually scared me as a kid, but we won't get into that right now. But yeah. From meeting a Millenniumon to even discovering powers, he tells them about all of it. And even the scar on his back he got from the Millenniumon. They know everything, which they can't spend all this time out. So Tai takes them out to a pizza place where they get pizza and just talk about things. Kari is sitting, which. After hearing all this, Kari gets up and goes sit near Davis, and as she understands why he never told her about any of this, since what she heard from Davis over these past hours would honestly messed up, like a lot. A 6-year-old going through a digital world that was more harsher than the one they went through. Since, assuming that Millenniumon is running around, the digital world probably looks like hell on Earth. Well, hell in the digital, you get what I mean. But yeah, considering the fact that Millenniumon was running around, it probably looked a lot worse than even what Adventure manga had. So shit, but we won't get into that right now, alright? So yeah. As Kari just goes over to Dasuki and gives him a side hug. Since things are just kind of hellish, basically. Hearing this is bad. Just They can't come up for words with it. That's how messed up it kind of all is. You know? So, we finally skip to after they're done eating their pizza and go on off. With Ty telling Davis he wants to talk about this more. Which David agreeing, he ends up giving June a call and tells her that he's staying over to Miyamoto's house. Well, no. The cop. What is Ty and Kari's last name? Kamai? Starts with a K. Basically their house. And so when they get there, they see Ty and Kari's parents. With Davis asking if he can stay over, with them saying yes. Which he'll just stay in Ty's room with him. So, yeah. As we see while Kari goes on off to hang out with Gaomon and her room and catch up, we see Vima. Wait a minute. Yeah, Demon Beam. We see Vima and Koromon talking, which just for the sake of being able to get around without being noticed and so be easier for Ty to carry him, he just turned de-digivolved back into Koromon. Which we didn't see Koromon digivolve back to Agumon. And the same with Vmon digivolving back into Vmon. You know. As Davis and Ty get to talking, as Davis said, I think I might know who the Digimon Emperor is. Who? But you have to I'm not sure, so Davis, she says, you're gonna have to promise me you won't tell anyone until we're completely sure. Which Ty, growing more cool-headed over the years, gives him a yes. Okay, as he tells him to go on. And so things get started, as he says that he thinks it might be one of the people, the only other person that survived the trip to the digital world. As Ty asks Ken, he says with Davis probably, yeah, that Digivice and the Wormmon. And the Wormmon is a partner, which also for their Digivices, for Davis, Rio's, and Ken's Digivices, they have the symbol of their Digimon on it. So with Davis, he has a V in the middle. For Ken, he has like a black stripe a blackish green stripe circling around it, or that kind of shapes a bug. Hey, Rio, you can come up with whatever. I'll explain more of that in the Tamer's What If. Also, the fact that he's able to use the digital energy there, the Digiboost that Davis calls it, or the Digiboost is what Davis called it, while Rio called it some kind of physical spirit boost. It boosts their attributes. The more they're linked with their partner, the stronger they are. Suki remembers the fight with Validiamon, turning into as Suki explains that lifting his arm up before it's engulfed in a golden flame. Before closing it, as he says, well, giving a sigh as they just talk. Talk. And this, we're talking about Dave's experience and how harsh the digital world was back then. But also, this is when they hear a knock on the door. As Kari says, can Davis come out? But him agreeing, as Nick go over to Kari's room with Vmon and Yaomon just, leaving the room. As Kari starts to ask Kari knows that one of the reasons Davis didn't want to tell her about it because, she would have thought he was insane, but she did ask, what's the real reason you didn't, besides that, what's the other reason? What Davis looking at her with a side of his eye and then getting a sigh. as he explains to Kari exactly why he didn't tell her. It's the fact that he didn't want her or anyone else getting dragged into the living hell he was forced to experience. That since, look, going to the digital world like that, it messed Davis up as a person, which also, since realistically, depression and blaming yourself would lead to you self-harming. Davis does have bandages wrapped around his wrist. As Kari does finally notice, which since Davis wears a jacket, it kind of hides him. But without it on, Kari asks him, why does he have bandages on his arm? As Davis tries to come up with a seemingly excuse, saying that he hurt himself in soccer, but Kari is able to see right through it as she grabs his hand and then looks at him with eyes that just kind of begging him to tell her. As Kari asks, please tell me what's wrong. Which then finally gets Suki, looks to the side as it just ends up, as Kari does ask, are these, she beats around the bush a little, but eventually gets to asking, are these self-wound scars? As she starts to roll up the bandage a bit and seeing that they're kind of not deep, but enough to leave scars on his arms. After getting a yes from Davis, she ends up wrapping her arms around his neck and squeezing him into a hug. As Suki finally lets the dam of emotions break through. After years of kind of having to be kept bottled up, after everything, blaming of himself, as the Suki hates himself somewhat, to the extent of letting what happened happen. As he just starts crying. Which also during their conversation, she found out that Ken might be the Digimon Emperor. From the possibility of his best friend being a tyrannical psychopath, Ryo's death, and everything else, being dragged back into the place that caused all of his trauma in the first place, it hurts him a lot. As we see Suki just crying in Kari's arm, while in their hug, as she starts to cry as well slightly. Eventually, Suki ends up tiring himself out fully from his wound and the emotional exhaustion of the day, as he passes out. And so, And so Kari does try to pick him up since he's a lot bigger. She's eventually able to do it and place him down in her bed as she goes talk to Ty. As they talk about what they've heard and how Davis is sleeping on her bed in her room. As she tells him he passed out from the emotional exhaustion of the day. Emotional and physical exhaustion of the day. As she then tells Ty that. So after they have their talk, she goes back in her room and sees that the Suki is still asleep, so nothing happens here, but she just lays near him. She just lays near him. Nothing weird or anything like that. Just she cuddles him while he falls asleep. Yeah, we skip to the next morning with Suki waking up and realizing that Kari is, kind of cuddling him tight. So, after that, and being able to move Kari slightly off of him, he gets up and walks out. As he sees that no one's up, so Suki decides that he might as which Suki also realizes that that's one of the only nights he hasn't had, dreams that turned either outright nightmares the entire time or dreams that ended up turning into nightmares. Just had a nice dream. about the good old days when him, Rio, and Ken were exploring the digital world together. And while it was kind of hellish thanks to Millennium on, they kind of enjoyed the rush they've got, the feel of being alive. It made them feel great, kind of. Even though Davis and Ken didn't know what was going to happen. They just decided to make the best of it. And Davis now is a 14-year-old, thanks to spending a year in the digital world. He has picked up a couple of tricks from the digital world. So after, I don't know, like using a spare toothbrush they have there, I mean, I guess they would, or like one Davis left over there. Since I would assume that he has spent the night a lot being childhood friends. Alright, so he probably just left the toothbrush over there. So yeah, as Sasuke gets up, he was noticing that his shoulder, thanks to his faster healing, is fully healed now, leaving a scar over the right shoulder. As Sasuke goes and takes a shower after that. As we also now get another look at Sasuke, he's, muscular for his age, he's athletic, basically. He's not ripped, like any pack, like a 4-pack or anything, but he's athletic. He has and we also finally see the full extent. His hands have scars over them, mainly on the wrist from the cuts, but also he has a scar, like right next under his shoulder, and a couple on like the lower parts of his arms. We also see that, Nasuki's back. Which also, trust me when I say this, that scars can grow with you. Since I kind of fell off the side of the stairs when I was like 12 to 11, and the scar is still here now, even though I'm 17, in the exact same place, still very brightly there. Like, I can still see the exact spot where it hit. So trust me when I say this. The scars can grow with you. So even though it looks more faded out now, the scar on his back is still there. As Sasuke gives a deep breath, he goes into the kitchen and starts cooking some pancakes and eggs and bacon. A generic breakfast. You know? Which things go on when we see the we see the Ty's family wake up, alright? Starting their day as they smell something cooking with Ty and Kari's mom asking that and saying that Davis didn't have to cook for them, which he's saying that he feel like he should, you know? So yeah. Also, why not? He didn't have anything else to do after he woke up. So after cooking breakfast, as we see Kari, Davis, and Ty just talking. Which, this is the first time they've actually seen Davis cook. And this gets Kari to ask, where did he learn to cook from? Which, you know the little egg Digimon? That one, they taught the 3 boys how to cook on their own, which came in handy. The chef egg Digimon, you know. Which, yeah. It came in handy, basically. So, yeah. And we just see this being kind of a regular day. It's a Saturday, so no school. So, yeah, no. I assume that they will all just kind of get up. And they would just, you know what? Ty just takes them out somewhere, you know? Somewhere nice, somewhere they can spend their time together. And we see a slight montage of Davis and Kari just enjoying their time together. Which we see at one point, I guess somewhere while walking down, somewhere fun. We see them holding hands. As we end this part off, we see, as we said, I guess Kari gave Davis a kiss on the cheek or something like that. And we ended off with them and Ty just going off to have more fun for the day. Actually being able to live like kids their age and not kind of war veterans for kind of not like war veterans from a war base, And with that, we end this part off here.